even though he was not physically there. You don't have to be physically there to lead anything. And I told Raila, if I reach Canaan first, I will bring you on board. That's what I told him. I told him to come, only 2 conditions you give me. And he was sitting there with all the so-called principles. I told him, come give me one play. You are not conceding. So he said, I'm not conceding the land. Fine. 2, Jacob, you are not going to interfere. He said, why? If you reach Canaan first, call me. If I reach Canaan first, I'll call you. We'll make you president whether you are there or not. But this thing, we are breaking this guy's back. That was strategy number 1. Strategy number 2. I said, Uhuru Kenyatta only has 2 things. He has guns and he has money. Now he's broke. Broke in terms of they have stolen all our money, they have converted into personal money. So in terms of the state, Kenya, the country, that one is broke. But he's building a private city worth 500 billion next to Thika. All right? And we are supposed to be broke. And you all know that the place they bombed in Westlands, the mall, Westgate, they bought. The Kenyatta family bought that one. And you know that the Delamere farms in Naivasha, they bought. They're buying everything. But we are broke. So I said, fine, Uhuru Kenyatta has 2 things. He has weapons and he has money. Now we use this. So, how many weapons do they have? I know. How many armed men do they have? That's the first thing a revolutionary does. What is my enemy's capacity? And I know their capacity. At a maximum, they have 350 armed men and women. Whether it is the military, whether it is the police, whether it is forest service, whether it's GSU, whether it is prisons, 350,000. Oh,
okay.
So the formula is easy. Formula is easy. I bring 5 million men and women onto the streets of Nairobi and NRM marches. You can't shoot that even if you had 1 million weapons. You can't. Because inside there is your girlfriend, inside there is your wife, inside there is your neighbor, inside there is your mother-in-law, inside there, you can't shoot. That is how they did not shoot in the Philippines. That is how they didn't shoot in Zimbabwe. That's how they didn't shoot in Cote d'Ivoire. That's how they didn't shoot in Burkina Faso. That's how revolutions happen. If you want it to be not an armed revolution. So it is easy. What does Miguna need? His mouth. And his head. And then you give me a platform. And I rally my boys. They're going to come. Whether you like it or no, that is stupid. I'll tell you why. I told you that had these people found a gun, they would have killed me. Or they would have cooked up a story. I denied them that. Use your head. Alright? You pull a gun, you die. So, I knew what they would be thinking. Syria! I know. Syria. Easy, piece of cake. Right, Odinga, the international community ran away from him, right? And the media. Now I know how to turn them back. Easy, piece of cake. You bring civilians on the streets of Nairobi, and they come with their guns, and the UN is right there. And the ICC is right there. And everybody is right there. You can't kill unarmed civilians. You can't. Even Trump can't do it. You can't. You can kill armed militia. You can kill trained guerrillas. You are allowed to bomb them even with atomic bombs. But you cannot shoot at unarmed civilians and you get away with it. You can't. So the strategy is very simple. All you need is men and women and youth on the streets, and they are marching every day, and Uhuru takes a flight to Congo. Because 1 week of no business in Nairobi, even the Kikuyu elite will not allow him to stay in power even for one more day. They will tear him with their own hands. It's easy. I don't know how difficult these people think it is. Now with that kind of strength, that is strength. Because you have more people than the armed people Uhuru has. And he's broke. The state is broke. Even if they brought more guns, he has only 350 hands. You can't shoot 3 guns. You can't. You may have them, but you can only handle one at a time. All right? And there's nobody who's going to shoot 1 million people. That is how come we were able. NRM did this, not NASA. The 30th of January was not a NASA affair. As you could see, there was no NASA principle, so-called. It was just me swearing Raila in, and our youth are there. Maneno kwisha. Maneno kwisha. You don't need a big theory, PhD dissertation for what? This is a simple, commonsensical thing. Once our youth started coming, you know, they mocked me in the morning when I was at the NTV, telling them, you know, just wait. You will see them. Oh, Miguna, the general is not going to have 100,000 men and women. The general is going to go down. I say, wait. Just wait. Didn't you see? Until they have to switch off the TV. Now, this is the problem. We are strong. They are weak. Because strength is people. Numerical strength is power. If you are strong, why do you go and beg someone? Why do Raila go? Raila goes to beg somebody who is weak. A man who deports one person and says he's a threat to national security. One man called Miguna can threaten national security. And you go to this man who says Miguna threatens him. And you say, let's work together. Why? Honestly? And I had already announced the Lunga Lunga Liberation Dance. That's what they are doing. They are trying to undermine, because both sides are scared of the transformative nature of the NRM. Nobody wants the system to change. It's supposed to remain the same musical chairs where 65% of the youth are unemployed, where police kill people for sport and get away with it, where the judiciary can be threatened because most of them have stolen their wealth and they don't want a functioning judiciary. They don't have no problem going to that judiciary even if you charge me with capital offense. But they are scared to death to go before that judiciary because they have blood in their hands. Their hands are dripping on both sides. What a shame. What a shame. So they are so desperate right now that this thing is so ripe that you have to sabotage it. You have to sabotage the NRM. It's too powerful. The youth are too excited. It's too radical. It's too uncompromising. So what is it that we fought for? What is it that these people have died for? What is it we promised our people during the struggle for independence? What was it? Because essentially what the so-called talks have done is to divide NASA and the NRM. There was no reason for that. You are strong when you are together. So why do you allow your enemy to divide you? Why do you allow them to weaken you when you are strong? There was no issue. I mean, I presided over the swearing in. I stuck out my neck to be slaughtered. Then my house is destroyed. My citizenship is purportedly revoked. My passport is purportedly revoked. I am purportedly deported. I'm here. Why are you knifing me in the back? I've not done anything wrong. Nobody there was ready to swear Raila in. And as a matter of fact, they had already sent the police to arrest me at the intercon. And that is why part of the NASA principles are right. Part of them. Not all of them. They are still cowards and hypocrites. But they are right because, partly, because these guys did not believe that this thing was going to happen. I'm the only one who was saying, Raila is going to be sworn in whether he likes it or not. And then I told them, we are going to Uhuru Park. The police will not stop us. We are going there, come rain, come high water. Let's meet them. And the youth came. And they were shocked. You mean these guys can pull 1 million? You mean 1 million people? And you know, some of those politicians, when they see 1 million people, they cannot stay away. This is the truth. So the swearing in takes place. And now we are supposed to actualize it. Instrumentalize power. You know, you have to think very carefully about what I'm saying. How do you do that? You form a cabinet. You do things that semblance of a governing government. You start rallying your counties. You start rallying your constituencies. You start putting up your portraits. You take down his portraits. You delegitimize his government and you legitimize yours. From the people. And how are you going to stop that when Uhuru got 3.4 million votes? Uhuru only got 3.4 million votes. Raila got over 8 million votes. So tell me, if all the Raila supporters, and they had become more as we started to mobilize, you know, Raila was gaining more support. More people joined our side as time went by. You know why? The police started killing people like they're killing insects. So people were very, very angry. The economy was biting. The boycott was working. Uhuru became stupid and started governing like a monarch. And people hated that. Then he was drinking like a donkey. You understand? So people said, no, this guy is not president. Look at him, look at his eyes, look at the way he walks, look at the way he talks. You know? So more and more people were on Raila's side. And then you wake up one day and you say, huh? Wow. The strong becomes weak overnight and starts begging and groveling and looking for partnership. A man who is happily married with very beautiful children, they are healthy, they are prosperous, and then this man leaves this wife and his family to go marry a prostitute. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Or like I was telling Steve, so you heard, because I have heard this story, they're saying, oh, the so-called principals were going to jump into bed with Uhuru next week. So Raila did it before then. What a stupid explanation. So let me tell you my answer. So, as I have told you, happily married, good kids, good health, good jobs, prosperity. So you heard your neighbor wants to commit suicide next week. So you die today so that you can preempt that one. That's what it is. These people joining Uhuru Kenyatta is not political power, is not strength, it is suicide. Already, they had fatally injured themselves by not attending Uhuru Park. So these people are bleeding to death politically. Now you know next week, having bled almost to death, they are going to pull the trigger. You've been told. I let them pull it to any time, my friend. I say, go ahead, hurry, so that we can bury you all together. But no, I go and say, I must be the first one to die. Is that intelligent?
No, it's not.
So, NRM is not dissolving. NRM is moving forward. We are not joining this cynical, selfish, irrational marriage of convenience. Because this marriage will never be consummated and no child is coming out of it. It is destined to fail. It is built on Musano's blood. If we were going to forgive anyone, he has to apologize, he has to account for what he has done, and then we must accept it and say, fine, we move on. That is reconciliation. Reconciliation is not just I wake up and I say, oh, we are now brothers. But yesterday you just murdered my supporters. And you, Uhuru, publicly commended the police officers that murdered our supporters. He congratulated them. He gave them medals of honor. That's what he did. So, this is my message to you. We cannot build a country based on deception. We cannot lead based on dishonesty. We cannot have mediocre leaders with no ideological clarity, no commitment to anything, and people who do not honor their supporters, to keep on playing with the country as if it is their musical instrument. It cannot be done. It must not be done. We cannot agree. We cannot agree. If I did what Raila Odinga did yesterday, what would you say about me? You'd call me a traitor, you'd call me out. In fact, you'd stone me to death. We cannot explain it away. Each one of us are human beings like anybody else. We have full rights, we have brains, nobody owns us. Nobody. And I'm saying this with a lot of respect, because I supported and support Raila Odinga's quest. I was the one who told Uhuru Kenyatta that starting the week that he came and abducted me, I was going to start pulling down his posters with a lot of glory. All over the country. Bonfires all over. I was going to do it with a lot of glee. All right? Because it is called in law protected speech. Banning a flag, banning a portrait is protected speech. You can't even jail me. You can't do anything. You can't even sue me. I'm allowed to do it under the Constitution. I'm allowed. So the idea, that NRM is illegal is wrong. We are not. And we have a court order now saying we are legal. But to do this, we need resources. The only thing they have, which we don't have, is money. It's the truth. And any revolution cannot succeed without resources. Cannot. The Cuban Revolution, Chinese Revolution, Russian Revolution, the people support the revolutionaries. They give them food, they give them shelter, they provide intelligence, they give them guns, they buy them guns, they help them move. All right? Now, I'm not saying we're going to buy guns because I think that is why you are excited. Yeah, I told you the dangers of buying guns, right? And I told the people in DC last week that for those people who are saying we should buy guns, we should start an armed struggle, you should be prepared to sell your house here or leave with your children and wife and family, go back to Kenya and start it. If you cannot say you're going to do it, don't clap. It is true. You can't say Miguna do it. Miguna also has a wife and children. Yeah. No. But I'm also a human being with wife and children. And they were already mourning me in those 5 days. And people would think, you don't care about your life. I care about my life. I do. Everybody does. That is the most important thing anybody else has. It's precious. You cannot get it back once you lose it. But we are not going to cower. We are not going to let fear prevent us from removing the demagogues. I cannot allow that. Because if we don't do that now, then forever we can forget about liberation, freedom, democracy, whatever. People will sit somewhere and decide who our leaders are. And we can't do that. Now we can also not secede. I'll tell you why not. That is another silly idea. Secession would require an armed struggle. All right? Because if you want to divide a country, you have to fight that country's army. That will take 50 years to achieve. Yet removing 2 people will take me 2 months. It's easy. Removing Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto is the easiest thing in the world. They were not elected. They are weak. They are corrupt. They are poor. They are tribalist. Everybody hates them. And it is, well, not everybody, but at least 70% of Kenyans. So, removing that regime is the easiest thing. So why should I leave the easiest route to go to the most difficult? And the most difficult will not be achieved in my lifetime. So you see, you can't support that. You will lose hundreds of thousands of people pursuing that mirage, right? It is just an academic idea that flashed through somebody's mind and they spread it out and people say, hey, we can do it. No. Revolutions must be led by logic. It must be led by distilled strategic thinking, not emotion. So when you are making decisions, a revolutionary decision, you have to have what we call equidistance. You have to remove yourself from the situation and think about the problem objectively. Having gone through and that we can do in 2 months. In fact, I had given them until April 15th. If we do the Lunga Lunga dance properly, then that will be achieved. Now, we are not discriminating against anyone. We are not alienating anyone. We say we are all embracing. We want unity of purpose and discipline. So anyone, regardless of their political affiliation, who subscribe what we have outlined and want to fight with us for what I have stated, is ready to join. We are not here saying ANC cannot join because you like Mudavadi and you say, oh, you know, Mudavadi is still my leader. Fine, but you can't follow him into oblivion. Like now they are rushing very quickly to go into oblivion. You know? Raila has overtaken them, but they are following very closely. This thing you are seeing today is called Pyrrhic. It is like a chimera. You will wake up one day and it's gone. This is what Raila did in 1997. It did not work. It did not work. When he went into Kanu and destroyed the NDP, it did not work. You may want to explain, he destroyed Kanu from within. No. Kanu fell on its own weight. It was just a coincidence. Some of these things don't give them glossy things. Then 202, Kibaki Tosha, did not work. The MOU was trashed immediately. Let's call a spade a spade. It did not work. Then the Grand Coalition did not work. This is a fact. Then you are still chasing this chimera. You have made so many mistakes, year in, year out, people have died, but you have refused to learn a lesson. You have refused to change course. You have refused to change direction. You have refused to change the strategy. You are repeating the same mistake. You can't wake up one day and go greet someone and say, oh, this is the new direction, let's give it a chance. Was that explained to you the way I'm explaining mine? Because at least I came here, I'm telling you what it is we are doing, and you have a decision to make. Are you supporting us or not? Did they explain what they are doing in Nairobi? No, even up to now, 2 days later, they have not even explained what they are doing. Did you approve of Paul Mwangi representing you in those negotiations? Who is Paul Mwangi? What has he ever done for Kenya? So what the hell is he negotiating? On behalf of whom? I've spoken with that man for 2 minutes maximum in my lifetime. That is how important he is, 2 minutes. All these things we were doing during the swearing in, before then, all these organizations we were doing, he was not there. He did not even come to Uhuru Park. He was not even there when we welcomed Raila, when Raila came from the US. He was not there. Yes, he made some nice arguments in court as a lawyer, but he acted as a lawyer. He's not a revolutionary. He's not a transformer. He's not a leader. He does not know what we are fighting for. He does not know. He's part of the problem. If anybody believes that you can negotiate on behalf of people who don't know you, who have not given you instructions, and you are not reporting to them, you have a problem. How do you bring these people to account? You are citizens. Some of you pay very good taxes in Kenya because you have property in Kenya. Some of you have businesses in Kenya. You send a lot of money to Kenya. Yet they tell you, henceforth, you'll be paying more for your passports. Right? Didn't they say so? Mm-hmm. You will be paying more than Uhuru Kenyatta because Uhuru lives in Kenya. But Uhuru is richer than you. What kind of logic is that? That because you live in the US, even if you're washing dishes, you pay more than somebody who lives in Zambia because he lives in Zambia, but he's earning more than you. Where is the rationale? If it is not logical, it is not reasonable, it cannot be legal. Law is just logic. If it does not make sense, it cannot be legal because you cannot justify it. So, I would like you to help us take this movement to the next stage. I would appeal to you to support us so that we can become self-reliant. When we want to do logistics, when we want to do mobilization, you can support us without us having to cut deals to undermine your interest. Because that is what is happening. That's what they're doing. They're making it look like if you have not stolen, if you have not looted, you cannot be a leader however qualified you are. If you do not come from certain families, you will never make it to leadership. What kind of a country is that? You know that, Matiang'i and the rest. The only qualification is that somebody liked them. It's not like it was an application that was made. Somebody woke up and said Matiang'i is minister. You didn't know how. Did they advertise and they say minister should apply? No. So, leadership based on cronyism cannot develop a country. And that is what we have. Now, of course, I've also been raising funds because my house was destroyed and nobody has repaired it. And I've had lawyers working from the 2nd of February when I was arrested up to now. And nobody has paid them a dime, even out of pocket expenses. The orders that are usually rendered, like Kimaru's order, Chacha Mwita, are supposed to be served in the newspapers. Half a page of the newspapers are 250,000. Nobody has paid even a dime. You expect a Kenyan lawyer, even here, a lawyer to take out an ad and serve your order in the newspaper out of his own pocket? No, they will not do so. Yet without doing this, without paying my lawyers, I cannot go back to Kenya. I cannot continue the struggle. That's a fact. Whether you like it or not. Because lawyers do not work for free. That is just an accepted fact. I know many of you say, go, fight. But when we ask for money, you say, no, we are not supporting you. Yet you give money to Raila, who is a billionaire, or Uhuru, who is a trillionaire, and you don't ask him to account for anything you have given. That is also a fact. And you've been giving for the last 20 years, and there is nothing to show for it. That's the truth. And there is no guarantee that this experiment will end anywhere. Yet we have been in existence since November, and you can see the results. You don't ban a moribund organization. You don't. You don't deport somebody who you think is weak, who nobody is listening to, who makes no difference. You can just ignore him, but they can't. That shows you we are potent, and we are not retreating. I thank you, and I will look forward to fielding your questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening one more time. We've heard the talk from the general, candid, straight to the point, no fear. He has to tell it exactly.